So good evening and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne. We're coming to you live from the Full Speed Event studio here in what was the old beer cellar in Eckington in Derbyshire. Now we are just rolling into the Donny Chaingang, the WOW DCG, the Women's Only Wednesday Donny Chaingang, and we are steadily working our way through into December. And because it's December, some great news, which is that we are now into the 12 DCGs of Christmas. And a bit like an advent calendar, every single Donny Chaingang, we're going to be peeling back our window and going to be getting some goodies out to our riders. So really looking forward to being able to get you involved in that as well. Now, it's going to vary. Sometimes it's going to go to our riders. Sometimes some of the draws are for the members of the DCG gang. That's the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club and exclusive to them. Tonight we have two prizes going out for the very first of the DCGs in December, in the Christmas period. And that is, first of all, we're going to do a draw for the members of the DCG gang. They always get priority, let's face it. Why wouldn't we look after the people who keep the show on the road? And that's just a little way that we can say thank you to them. And that's first of all going to be for a £50 voucher from the people who have put this all together. So Ian Taylor and the gang at 1080 over in Norwich. That well-known tourist destination in Norwich have stitched this together, and all of the prizes on the way through are in conjunction with them or to do with them, pretty much all the way through. We've got lots of our regular supporters as well, some new ones joining in, helping bring all of these prizes to you. Well over £2,000 worth of goodies going out. First of all, we're going to kick off with a voucher for £50 to one of the members of the DCG gang. And this will be drawn at random with our random number giveaway, which some of you will have seen before. On top of that, then, during the ride, we're also going to have a giveaway for our riders. Now, this is provided by 1080, and it's in association with Tom Barris and the team at Spatswear, and it is an indoor cooler base layer. So, basically, if unlike this studio, which is pretty cool, and as you can tell, I've got a fleece on in here, even though normally it's really warm. We've got all the doors and windows out for some reason today. It is warm. Time to get the cooler on, designed in conjunction with current Olympic champion, and the aim is to get the temperature down to wick away the sweat and to make things more comfortable. So we've got one of those going away, and that's one of our riders on the WOW DCG. And all that the riders need to do, they've got to be watching the message board, because at some point our leader will type the words ho 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 DCG, and when the ride leader does that, that is the cue for our riders to put up on the message board, ho ho ho, DCG, and the name. Don't put your name on, ain't going to get it. So it's ho ho ho, DCG, and the name from our riders. They need to do that. And that could happen at any point during the ride. And that's totally up to our ride leader. They're in charge of the go, 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 and they're in charge of the ho 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 as well. So that's going to run all the way through. So if we do a competition which is message board in, if it's going to be an email in, it's going to be ho 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 DCG with name on it, and that will get you into the draw if you are eligible. And tonight it's on the message board, and it's going to be during the ride. Before that, let's go straight into our giveaway, because as the time ticks on, keeps check on about 6 million clocks around the place. Slight giveaway, it's only exaggeration, it's only about 6 clocks around the studio. We are going to run into the giveaway. So let's introduce you to the infamous random number giveaway. Let's dive in. Now, the 12 DCGs of Christmas, as we said, brought to you by 1080, and we've got to say a massive thank you to Ian. He's done a lot of work behind the scenes, cajoling, twisting arms, bullying people. I don't really want to know what he's been up to get all of these fantastic prizes. And they range as massive as jackets, base layers, pumps. We've got goodies, we've got hampers to give away from Nonnas. We've got, of course, Oakley goodies. We've got some Oakley kit. We've got some custom Oakleys as well, and obviously the lion's share is going to go to the members of the DCG gang, but we are giving some out on the rides as well, and there's going to be ride competitions on the way through. First of those is tonight, and the riders need to make sure they're paying attention to that message board to get the ho 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 DCG and get their name in, and they need to be watching that. Now, draw running tonight, and the probabilities are 1 in 77 tonight. Some people late with their registrations are missing the cut-off to go into the competition. That cut-off's actually 36 hours before. That just allows us to actually get everything done in the background to make sure that we're all above board and we've got everything dialed in. So 1 in 77 tonight. Our riders start with an A for an Andy, and as X for Xander, and in between they're numbered 1 to 77. You know the score if you've been watching before. Number will land on somebody, and we'll tell you who that person is as we move through. That person will then be ineligible because it is one rider, one prize all the way through to ensure that we get the biggest spread of people winning on the Chaingang. Nobody wins everything on the way through. So the whole of December is one rider, one prize. And once somebody's won something, that's whether it's on a giveaway during the ride or a giveaway to the members. Once they've won, can't win again. So first up, £50 voucher is going to go. Fingers on the button. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'll look totally the opposite direction of the screen's that way, so I'll look over there. And the number stopped at number 51, which is Malcolm Thorne. Malcolm Thorne is a Bolsover and District rider based in Chesterfield, if I remember correctly, and is on the edge of the Peak District, and a rider who's ridden the Chaingang regularly. So Malcolm, one of our quick riders, winning a £50. I'm going to very quickly type this in. From 1080, which is brilliant because it's somebody we know who's going to use that. So a £50 voucher from 1080 going to Malcolm Thorne. First winner on the prize draw here today. So well done to Malcolm. Press the save button, Mr. Payne, before we go any further. So, well done to Malcolm. Our random number generator is going to be put to one side as we move on to the ride itself. And, of course, the ride today, you can just see the message board very busy. It looks like our yellow beacon. Very, very busy on the numbers here. So, it is the 12 DCGs of Xmas. And looks like, just having a quick check on here, the gang all getting those instructions coming through. You can see the clock ticking down. It's dark and wet in London. I know some of my friends down have just moved down there. Rab Waddell just moving down. And I think he went south to get warmer weather. It might have something to do with work as well. But guess what? It looks like the weather has got a little bit nasty out there. The riders just joining now with 5 minutes 49 to go. Don't forget, of course, we've got the competition for our riders. So those riders who are in and on the start line who are riding tonight can all win. What they need to do is to remember that ho, ho, ho DCG when Emma, our leader, types it on the screen. Then we will be able to pick up Emma and see whether she's got them listening, whether they're paying attention to their beacon, who can get the fastest fingers on the typing, and type in ho 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 DCG and the name. The name bit's really important, oddly enough, if we're going to manage to get that prize out. Now, just going to take a quick check. Looks like our yellow beacon is sat on the start line. So let's see if we can get in touch with Emma, who is our yellow beacon tonight. So let's have a little check. Emma should be lined up. Here we go. And hopefully on the end of the line is our yellow beacon, Emma, a.k.a. the boss. How are you doing, Emma? Hello, Emma. Oh, this is very quiet. Emma, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. That's a good start. Now we can hear you. Okay, so, yeah, you're on the start line and down in London, so quite a long way from me.
Indeed, and it's raining. You know, I've been victim to snow this weekend and now rain tonight.
That's not fun. Snow in the cyclocross race is quite appropriate and definitely fun. Rain on Zwift's definitely not. At least I think everybody probably in the rain cave. I can't imagine anybody is Zwifting outside. That's kind of a bit of a nuts thing to do, even in somewhere nice. But definitely with the weather we've got in the UK, it is tough. Now, we are in London, as we've said, and you've got quite a spread of riders. We've got some first-time riders. We've got some of our top flight pro riders as well in there. And it's nice to see such a big mix of riders, isn't it?
It is, and you know, that's what the DCG is all about. It's about something for everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're the fastest sprinter in the UK or whether you're out for a social ride with your friends. The DCG is there for everybody. Definitely,
and the whole point of the ride is that everybody supports each other. The stronger riders go back for the riders who are maybe having a hard time, not necessarily feeling strong, and that brings all of our riders on as they make their way through to the point at which the trigger goes, which is the go, 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 the legendary Donny Chaingang go, go, go. I'm sure you've got in your head some ideas of where you're going to send them. I'm not going to ask you because I know better than that. All of our beacons basically refuse to tell me where it's going to happen and just leave it for me to guess. So plan tonight for those people who are new and are watching live.
The plan tonight is we will roll out nice and steady, around 2 watts a kilo, to make sure everybody gets off the line. We'll do a nice steady warm-up, slowly lifting the pace. And then at some point, as you indicated, Matt, I'll give the instruction to go, 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 and it's free-for-all to the line.
Indeed, and we've seen some amazing riding by the riders in the women's chain gang in that sprint for the finish, but the groups behind her are equally, if not more, inspiring, aren't they? Because we see people working together, and on this course it is about being in a group. Nobody needs to be out on their own on this one because it is really, really hard. The speed differential's huge, isn't it?
This course particularly, the draft that you will get from the group is so strong that the second you're off that group, it's so hard to get back on. So that's the essential, sit in the middle of the group, take rest, you'll have an easy ride. If you're hanging off the back and the group goes from you, you've really got to dig in to get back on because the pace of the group with the draft will be so high.
And we've got an emergency beacon standing in tonight, which is our red beacon. Now, we don't think we're going to get the red beacon actually up on screen. That's going to be Sammy Stewart, a teammate of yours at AEO, so an experienced rider and certainly a strong enough rider to look after everybody out there. Sammy, of course, riding last night and sprinting in strongly and has ridden really strongly all season on Zwift, hasn't she?
Yeah, Sammy's a phenomenal e-racer on Zwift. She's really fast, and she's a phenomenal racer in real life as well. Let's not forget that. And bless her, she stood in last minute for us today. I don't think the red beacon is glowing over her head as normal, but I've seen her on the start line. So Sammy is going to be our red beacon tonight. She's going to do the sweeping job, and she's going to form that group at the back for us.
Excellent. Well, looking forward to seeing her in action at that, and with 30 seconds to go, I better let you get back to the screen. So Emma's going to dive in, and we're going to get the roll out pretty much straight away. Thank you very much, Em.
Thanks, bye.
So Emma heading off, as you can see, the countdown is on, 20 seconds to go. We're going to let the riders head off. We're going to dive in to what is a very familiar map once these riders get away off from the line. So as they head off from the line, we'll make sure they get away cleanly, and then we'll dive into the map whilst they group themselves together on the run out from the start line. So go, go, go has happened. The riders off and away. Let's show you where we're heading tonight. They're just setting off on to the red run in, and that means it's going to take them up and in towards the Greater London Flat Course, which is the course in black. Now, the Greater London Flat Course is one of our classics on the Donny Chaingang. It is a 5.7k lead-in, which is bumpy, makes it difficult to keep the group together, so everybody needs to work together. Then we hit the circuit proper, and we go down the mall, up Constitution Hill, and then drop down through to Westminster, around the river, and then climb up towards the Serpentine and Hyde Park Corner before dropping back down to Trafalgar Square. The key points on the course, well, pretty much everywhere, because if you don't get yourself in the right place at the right time, you're going to be in trouble. So basically what you can't afford to do is let the group go anywhere too far away, because what will happen is you'll get distance and then you're going to be having to fight to get yourself back on. Now, on this circuit, there are two real key points in terms of the group braking. There's the long drag out from the river, and there is the underpass, which is situated, you can just see the single line going from right to left where the blue dot is now, just pointing towards the lake, towards the Serpentine. As the course comes past the end of there, that is Hyde Park Corner underpass, and it climbs from there to the sharp 90-degree right-hand turn at the top of the hill. We can show you that better because we have the support of not just Zwift Hacks, not just Zwift Insider, but also we've got to say a massive thank you to the gang at Fellow Viewer who can provide us with this. This is exactly what you need to see. Get all the data, have a real good look at it. This is the actual lap itself. We come in and we join at the top right-hand corner. We drop down to the point where all three parts of the course converge. That's actually at the corner of Buckingham Palace, up the dead end, and then back down again. And then we come around in a clockwise direction around the river. And you can just see that drag coming away from the baseline up towards the top left-hand corner. That little drag, very easy to get riders broken from the group at that point. And then when we drop down into the dip, into that saddle, that is the underpass, and that is where things get interesting, because two of the steepest parts of the course, you can see that yellow in the graphic coming out, 3.8 and a 2.9 up to the high point of the course, and then that drop down in towards Trafalgar Square, and then the drop down the Mall. If you're not in touch at those points, you are going to be in trouble at the top of the hill and at the bottom, because what you find is that group will yo-yo its way in and around. Now, our riders already rolling their way along the underpass, working the way steadily along. It looks like Sammy Stewart, our beacon, just hanging off the back of the group to just make sure that everybody is in touch and connected, and you'll be able to recognise it because she's in the same kit actually as our yellow beacon in that Aeonian strip. So let's dive across. Let's head into the ride. Sammy Stewart on her way towards the back of the group here on the Donny Chaingang, the Women's Donny Wednesday, the WOW DCG here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne. So Sammy at the moment diving away down here. You can just see on your screens, we're on the Women's Donny Wednesday, Donny Chaingang and the 12 DCGs of Xmas. 1080, of course, the people stitching it all together and helping us grab all those prizes. And tonight's giveaway is a Spats giveaway, because if Tom Barris and the team at 1080. And going to say a massive thank you to them. So tonight the message board will be in action as we drop Sammy into the stats into Sammy. You can just see the ride-ons going in. We'll drop a ride-on on. There it goes, just jumping onto the top of Sammy as she makes her way in and along now. Sammy Stewart. Just sitting off Izzy Torrey at the moment, and Izzy, one of our strong riders, just making her way in. Looks like Sonia Inslee on a late join as well, just coming in. We do have a late join on the women's and the men's and women's DCGs. Remember, Tuesdays and Thursdays are men and women. The Wednesdays are women only, but both rides have a late join, so you can join in. You just need to make sure that you're giving it the right number of watts. Join at about 2.5 to 3.5, and it'll jump you in to the gang. And good to see everybody jumping in and getting into the group. You generally will drop into the middle of the pack and just see Sonia just kicking away into the group up on to the ride. Now, remember, tonight the message board is going to be busy. When we see our ride leader post the words ho 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 DCG, then that's when we are looking to see whether we have got any of our riders on the ball very quickly, on the fingers on the trigger, and just making sure that they get the message back up, ho 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 DCG, and their name on it. And the first person to do so, well, we're going to keep a record of it, of course, as you would expect. But also, it is going to be a case of getting the base layer. What else will we give you if you're going to be riding around on the Chaingang? So just seeing the message board lighting up from Emma here. The can't believe it's December. It really is. 1st of December, first Donny Chaingang. I'm not sure I really want to keep the message board up. We're given they're about to talk about Christmas. It's a scary thought already. Let's have a roll through the gang whilst the team are out there. So we've got the legendary, the infamous, the one and only, one of several, Catherine Adams on board. Let's take a little bit of a look. We've got Adams on here, so got Catherine riding in the gang, looking smooth, looking strong. Now let's have a little check who else is in the gang. Some of our regulars in here as well, and looks like Steph Rourke in once again. So Steph, another of our riders. Laura Lawson, one of a number of the Aeonian riders in here. The Aeonian squad, of course, the number one squad on Zwift at the moment, across all of the categories, and Laura Lawson, who's in action at the Eastern Champs. and is due to ride actually at the Ipswich of the World Masters Cyclocross Champs. Laura making her way in and along, and telling us she's not organised enough to have a tree now. We're just taking the turn up onto the climb. You can see that on the map at the top right-hand side of your screen, just in with Emma Gilbert as we come up onto the climb. And Emma tucked in to the group here, just in the black and red. Just watching our riders coming up here. So Izzy Torrey just making her way up. Got company there, and it looks like that is going to be Lee just sitting at the back in the Atticus kit. Get to see Joanne Lee riding on the Chaingang, Joanne, one of our regular riders, and clearly riding smoothly here. Nice revs there, 87, 88 revs per minute, and that's the sort of pace we're going to be looking for, the sort of cadence that allows you to respond when you need to spin it up and put some speed in. Now, our Downey cycling coach rider, the one and only Millie Skinner in the gang here. Now Millie's clearly looking like she means business. She's gone for the full-on aero bike. She's also gone for the disc wheel at the back of the deep rim at the front, and that is telling, because Millie, one of our real fast riders, coached by the best in the business down in cycling, and looking like she's come equipped for riding fast tonight. And will we see her in at the kill a little bit later on? Let's have a little bit of a run around the group here. Good to see Julie Bratton is back in. Julie actually the first rider to jump in, other than our commentary avatar, just jumping into the ride, and good to have Julia on board in that cryogen kit. And Julie's ticking along nicely, 108 beats per minute, 96 reps. Look at that cadence, really smooth, just keeping it just ticking through the middle of the group. Really good to see people riding so smoothly. Let's have a little look who else we've got. Looks like we've got Lisa Leverton on from the Bolsover gang. Lisa in the Rafa kit there. Very realistic avatar as well for Lisa. No Lisa well, and that's definitely one of the best, certainly the closest avatars I've seen for a little while. Let's take a little bit of a spin through the rest of the group. Looks like we've got at least one of the T Fletchers. The question is, which T Fletcher is it going to be? This, I'm going to put money on it being Tiff. I always get told off when I get the wrong one. They're very good at telling me off, actually, the Fletchers. I can't imagine Tracy's going to be on. Tracy will be looking to take a world's title, no doubt, at Ipswich for the World's Masters champ. A phenomenal rider, of course, former world champ and current national champ. Now, Tiffany is one of our addicts when it comes to the Donny Chaingang, somebody for whom she actually has to go to counselling just because she spends so much time on the Donny Chaingang. You can get it, it's available in various places, and at the moment Tiff tucked into the group at the moment. It's good to catch up with Tiff at the weekend down at the cross at the East Midlands Championship, when, as Emma said, it did indeed snow. Just to make life very difficult for everybody, or lots of fun for everybody, depending on your point of view and whether you like the snow or not. So let's have a look who else is in here. Looks like, they're rolling around so fast. It's a really tight group at the moment. I'm just going to randomly press buttons. I think we've got Spencer in the gang as well. So Diane Spencer in with us. Good to have you with us, Diane. Just taking a drink on board there in the orange Zwift. Another rider joining the gang, and sat very comfortably around that yellow beacon. 83 beats, 83 revs per minute, and 137 watts. We're coming up in towards the finish line at the moment. We've gone underneath the Admiralty Arch, heading down onto the red line, onto the red tarmac that takes you in towards line. So we have 3 full laps from when our riders come underneath the gantry now. Remember, of course, we also have the competition rolling during the course of the ride, and it needs to be a ho-ho-ho DCG and the rider's name who's going for it. That message will appear first from our ride leader. Now, just taking a little bit of a check down the times on the screen. Looks like 15, 16 seconds, and I know that's going to come down as they come through. So 3 laps through here, then a warm down to the blue banner, and it is going to be really interesting to see the chat after the warm down, because this traditionally is one of our tough courses. So riding in with Poppy here. So we've got Poppy Thompson in, another of our really quick riders. Poppy riding for the Pro Noctis Heidi Kjartsen Red Chili bike. That is really interesting to see that she's back on the gang again. Another of the Downing Cycling coached riders. Laura Lawson said it was the longest 2K last night. Last night the riders were out and riding, and it was a tough course because it went round 2 bridges loop. And the Chaingang, when it uses those 2 bridges loops, personally, I think it's one of the hardest courses. The turn up the right hand bend, absolutely tough stuff. And remember, of course, this week we've got 2 DCGs and the WOW DCG, 3 in total. Now, for those of you who are regular watchers of the coverage, quick heads up, tomorrow, Thursday, Donny Chaingang is going to be in action. The ride will be out. There will be no broadcast, however, and that is quite simply because we physically didn't want to get the kit in to the down to Ipswich for the outside broadcast, on top of everything else that was going, given that we don't want to risk the following week. Logistically not possible, time-wise equally not possible. It is the World Championships after all, and so we're going to be down in Ipswich from fairly early tomorrow morning actually. So we're going to leave here, back up, dash down to Ipswich with the Full Speed Events crew, and we'll be down there for the weekend. Does mean, however, no coverage tomorrow's ride. The ride though, Russ the Bear is our yellow beacon. He is going to be back in action and going to be out and riding. So make sure you get signed up if you want to get onto the Chaingang. The Chaingang, I'm loving the message you said. It is a lot more fun than just trading, and it is trading basically. It's basically 2 lots of ramps. Now, good to see we've got Lauren O'Brien in the gang again. Lauren, another of our quick riders in here. So we are going to see the riders coming through. Interesting to see the comments about training. It is just as hard as racing, but more fun. Definitely the case for seeing some really good improvements. There's a lot of people who are saying that basically the only thing they've changed on the training is to come out and ride on the Chaingang Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and do the every other week do a 3 or a 2, and then get that as your workout. Basically do recovery in between. If you need a recovery ride, jump in with the red beacon and ride with the red beacon. And guess what? You find that people are improving. There's plenty of the cross riders at the moment using it as their fastest training, including the one and only Nick Craig, a man who definitely is in with a shout of a championship win when he goes down to the World's Masters UCI Cyclo-Cross Championships down in Ipswich this weekend. If you are down there, don't forget to jump down. We've got lots of our riders who are on the Chaingang in action and riding down there now. Good to see we've got Jane Roberts on the gang here. Jane tucked in to the group in here, and Jane just sat on the trek there, just moving away down the straight, and the Vox women top there on Jane. Vox women, of course, the women's arm of Cycle Vox, and my colleague and someone who I have the pleasure of working with regularly, Anthony McCross, one of the instigators of that, and good to catch up with Anthony regularly through the year. We have a regularly bump into each other at events and across microphones regularly, it has to be said, so it's always great to have a catch up with him. And I know Anthony nice and busy at the moment, and the Cyclovox team really busy at the moment, and you'll have heard him if you've been watching the UCI coverage of the cross. Now just watching these riders coming in and through the straight, and the gang rolling the way down and through. They go past the Big Ben Bell Tower and now start to head alongside the Houses of Parliament. On the rider's right, you can see the Westminster Abbey, the Palace of Westminster, aka the Houses of Parliament, on the left of the riders as they come down along this straight, and riding well at the moment. Certainly looks nice and smooth for the gang at the moment. A couple of quick tips if you are watching live. What you will find is, depending on the speed of your processor and the speed of the device you're watching, you may find some lag. We run currently at about 1.5 seconds behind live. So 1.5 seconds behind live in terms of the broadcast. You won't always get that depending on how fast you can process it. So if you move your mouse and you press the live button, which is generally bottom left-hand side of the screen, you'll be able to jump it back up to pace. So our riders then are able to watch the big picture as well as watching the action as well. So just been riding in with Jane as we've made our way in and through. As they go down the straight, looks like Sammy in here, one of our winners from the Halo competition on DCG gang, Maz Heffron. Maz in the gang here, and Maz tucked into the back of the group here, not going too jumpy. Yeah, keeping it nice. This means very, very talented rider. Maz, some great skills, a regular out on the mountain bike around the Peak District as well, and a great wheel to follow when you're out on a trail, because she's definitely instinctive as to the way she rides the trails. Slightly lower. Oh, and the ho-ho-ho DCG has gone. Oh, look how fast. Right. Good job. We are able to do a bit of the old wonders of screenshot, because there are loads coming in here. Absolutely loads coming in. Boom, 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 boom. Right. Now, everybody wants the kit. Now, we have the messages as they come up on the companion app. We're going to dive in with our beacon. Emma, are you there?
I am indeed, Matt. That was amazing.
Now, we're going to have a little bit of a controversial moment here, because guess what? We have a slightly different result on the companion app to the main app. Now,
No!
we did indeed. Now, if you watch the video or the companion app, it will vary who is in with the win there. That is really, really tight indeed. However, the question will be, will we go for the screen or will we go for the app? I think we are going to rely on the screen, because that is the public view. The public view was that Tiffany Fletcher was the first in. The second in was Sammy Stewart. On the companion app, it swapped over. And that is on the companion, not on the live. Bearing in mind that we run on the screen game, is actually the live game on the screen. We are going to go across with Tiffany Fletcher, who actually got it on the screen, not on Sammy Stewart. So we're going to go with the screen, not on the companion app, because companion apps are behind the game. So we'll always use the game as our premiere. Tight, as close as it gets when it comes to that. But very, very close, and that means
absolutely brilliant.
I love the number of people. How many people were on the button there?
Well, I was quite surprised no one was moaning about my Christmas tree comment.
Well, I think they all had it ready to cut and paste straight in there. So great to see. Looks like everybody's all ready for the next one. We do have giveaways on every single Women's Wednesday on the Donny Chaingang, so make sure you get on there. Em probably saw at this moment, because she's not actually allowed to take part in this. We've banned her from all the competitions, so apologies, Emma. Sorry.
That's all right. I get the joy of leading this ride, so I'm going to move things on, I think.
Definitely. Well, I'm going to let you keep the ride together and keep everybody rolling. It's looking very compact and bijou. It's a proper blob, but as you head over, you can throw a blanket over everybody in a proper handicap sort of style.
I think everybody's been waiting to be able to type and ride.
a tricky thing to do, that is for sure. Well, congratulations to Tiff, and we will be watching that back on the video to confirm it, but very, very, very. And I'm loving the comments of everybody making sure that they're getting on there. We'll let you go, because guess what? You've just said you're going to move it up to 3 watts per kilo, so that's going to get a bit more tricky. So enjoy. We will see how you're getting on. Excellent stuff.
Indeed. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. So congratulations to Tiff, who was the fastest in on the screens, not on the companion. We always trust the game over the companion. And do you know what? I absolutely love the comment from Sammy Stewart. I've still got the Brill Prize of being Red Beacon, and do you know what? That says everything about our riders on the Chaingang. There are times when the work sort of gets, oh my goodness, do you know how much work we spend doing it, how much time we do this? And do you know what? Every time we do the ride, I just absolutely love it. It is worth every second, every minute, every hour, every day that we spend on it, because that comment says everything. That's what we want to see. Riders going out, riding, enjoying it, enjoying doing the beacon. It is one of the most rewarding things to do. So make sure, if you are one of our riders, you get your name in quick, because the slots go very fast when they get put up. Interesting to see the chat is still very busy actually on the message board here as our riders make their way in and through. And there's a lot of people with Christmas trees up. That's quite scary. Don't get any ideas as the riders make their way through. So, 2 giveaways tonight are members of the DCG gang. A £50 voucher going out to Malcolm Thorne. Well done to Malcolm. And we also have, of course, our giveaway in the Women's Wednesday, Women Only Wednesday DCG, and that is the Spatswear base cooler layer going out over to the gang, and that is going out to Tiff Fletcher. And I'm just saying, just taking the mickey out of Tiff for being a bit of an addict. Well, it's paid off tonight. So let's keep a check on our riders. So it looks like everybody running along comfortably here. The pace just being lifted up on the front, and this is where we just start to see people on the back. Poppy Thompson doing the work here. Let's have a little bit of a check. Poppy up, rolling around the front. We're just sat in with our yellow beacon, just sat on the front. Let's keep a little check on the back of the group rolling around. It's only Sammy Stewart actually, who's just yo-yoing off the back. I think it's just keeping a check on everybody. Sammy doing an amazing job. So Sammy keeping those legs turning on the way round, just watching Julie Bratton go through in that cryogen kit. Sammy at the moment keeping it smooth at the moment as she makes her way up through and onto the back of the group now. Just starting to see some gaps start to open. You've got to be on those wheels. You can't afford to let the gaps go. And when the pace gets a little bit hotter, that's when we start to see riders feeling the pace. Now, Diane Spencer, one of our new riders here, will a lot of the new riders, I mean even experienced riders like Nick Craig, take a little bit of time just to get used to how it rides. The gap, the key number, 6 metres. 6 metres. If you lose the wheels more than 6 metres, then you're in trouble. You will lose the draft. Now, we are just seeing Sammy just drop in front of Diane Spencer there. Spencer jumping up onto the back wheel of Sammy, and this could be where we see the bus starting to form. Diane Spencer just pushing on here. Sammy pushing the gap, just starting to grow. And just going off the back of the bunch now. It is going to be our bus driver there. The Gruppetto is driven by our red beacon. Now, normally we would have a red chevron over the top, but last minute change across means that we don't have that on top of our rider. Sammy Stewart, Sammy though recognising that Aeonian kit. And really interesting to see Steph Rourke up here. Riders not doing 3 watts per kilo necessarily, just keeping it ticking at the front at just sub 3. Our riders though now coming alongside. If we take the map out, you see we're coming up to that key point. We've gone up the long drag. The pace has gone up. We're starting to see fractures as we come round. Remember, we are currently still on the first lap at 14 and a half K covered so far. As we move in, remember that running is 5.7 as they come through. That gap now opening as our riders dive down into the underpass here. So this is where things get interesting, because as we run up on to the climb, we're just going to jump in with Mas, I think, on the way through here, because Mas is going to be more than capable of sitting into that group. This is when we move on to this little bit of a climb. it pulls up out of the underpass and moves up. Oh, bless you, Indy. It looks like Indy the trail dog has currently got sneezes. Never a good sign. Don't go getting a cold, Indy. So for those people that don't know, trail dog at the Full Speed Events team, the 5th member of the Full Speed Events team, is actually Indy the trail dog. He's fierce guard dog, lunatic trail dog, super fast runner, and occasional eater of studios. So we do have to keep an eye on him when he comes down in the studio, but definitely a pack animal. He's given the choice to cuddle up and with everybody. He'll either cuddle you or he'll eat you. Take your pick. At Indy at the moment, just sitting down and deciding that maybe the leg of the studio desk is good for chewing, which is not going to happen because otherwise we might lose a monitor or two. Now, riders going up on to the climb. We've gone up the first drag. You can just see that gap opening to group number 2. That's our red beacon group. Taking a little look up the hillside, you can just see in the distance the right-hand corner where the bus is. You can see it on the map as well. We zoom down that right-hand turn. That's the highest point on the course all the way around the course. So our riders are now making the way up onto this section of climb. It is a key part of the course, and at the moment it looks like Sammy and Diane just this is a little bit off the back here. They just get themselves together and work together, then they're going to be able to motor the way on. Looks like just seeing one or two riders just start to be detached from the group here. Just in with Jane. Jane trying to push. Come on, Jane, you need to be pushed right onto the back of that group as you come over this turn, because as our riders come over the top, if that gap opens, as the riders come around the top of the turn here, the front will accelerate up, and if we go up in the air, you're going to be able to see that group start to open and look at the gap as it opens on the front. So Jane needs to give it a big push here. She's got to get on the back, got to push to go down. So it really is all about trying to stay in with the group, but the gap opens, and once that gap goes, you are in trouble. Just seeing Jane, I think, going to be the next rider joining the gruppetto. It's going to be Sammy Stewart and Diane Spencer just at the top of the hill. They're going to take this right-hand turn. So Jane, you've got company coming pretty quick. Just take a little bit of a look off the bunch, and once you lose that wheel in trouble, and this is why it's such good training, riding on Zwift and riding in the Donny Chaingang, because it really does give you a chance to warm up, to go into the ride, and then to practice sitting on those wheels, sitting in the group and making sure that you don't lose those wheels. Now, the rain starts to fall in London, the group all the way out and across the road. You can just see our cameras just struggling to catch you when we go up above the group here on our fantastic cable cam. It's a magic cable cam, this one, because it goes around corners as well, which something cable cams don't normally do. I just see him moving up on the left there, Bratton going past the left shoulder of the yellow beacon. Yellow beacon tucks it back in and around once again. So that group continues to roll up at the front of the group. The gang together. Looks like Jane going to be seeing that yellow beacon, taking that turn. Spencer and Stewart at the moment. The riders that are just tucked in together. They're going to be closing down on Jane, and that's quite simply just because of the pace. Now, this group is very well matched at the moment, and doesn't look like we've got anybody struggling at the moment. Not sure whether we're going to see an injection of pace from our lead, but the pace is winding up steadily here. We're just seeing more and more pace being piled on by the riders, and remember, our fastest time was just sub 16 seconds last time. Are we going to see an increase in pace? If the leaders got this right, we are going to see them coming through and knocking that time down a little bit each time they come through right into the finish. I'm just going to have to jump up into the top, up in the air there, and just seeing the times that have come down. Remember, it was only just sub 16 seconds. We're now down to sub 15. So a couple of seconds down, so end of lap number 1, and you can just see it is snowing confetti down here as our riders come in and through the line there. So lots of personal bests on the way through, and that's just going to keep on happening as we pick up the pace, picking up the speed. Just taking a look at who's dropping in. It looks like Tracy, the woman for whom No FDPs and FDP too much. Is on her way through. Tracy managed to get 2 FDPs on a Tuesday and on a Thursday a couple of weeks ago. Sorry, Tuesday and Wednesday. Didn't manage it on Thursday, but did ride all 3 Donny Chaingangs, the 2 DCGs and the WOW DCG in between. Absolutely phenomenal improvement in Tracy's performance, and it's great to see the riders progressing now. On to Constitution Hill of the side of Buckingham Palace, out to the right. They'll be doing Mal's Lawns no harm at all. At Buckingham Palace, Green Park on the right hand side as our riders disappear off into the rain, starting to make their way up that climb. So going to be going into that turn. They're going to see the riders coming in the opposite direction pretty quickly as they make their way around that turn, and you can just see our Yellow Beacon just wanting to keep that pace up here, I think, and just keep it holding around about that 3 watts per kilo. We've already done one of our first full laps, but this group is riding strongly, and you can just see no real stragglers at the moment. It's still a very strong group, but the moment that you lose a wheel, you're going to be in trouble. So it's about holding the pace, not going too hard, letting it build, not winding it up too much. If you go too hard up into the front, you are in trouble. Now, interesting to see, we've got Becky Porter James in here, riding in that ruler top on the aero frame bike there, tucking back in, just rolling away in and round to the front, and it's almost turn about as these riders go down. Just seeing the opposite side of the road, the riders behind now. Looks like those gaps just starting to open behind Jane Roberts, currently going up over the top of the turn. 45 seconds on the Yellow Beacon. Currently just holding Sammy. I think if I was Jane, I'd be taking a little bit of a breather and just let the group come up, let the Red Beacon come up, then work with Sammy. I think that would get you a faster lap time, as our Yellow Beacon is saying we're going to move up again. So another gear shift, moving up to 3.5 watts per kilo. Now that is some going as this group picks up the pace. The pace picking up here, and you now start to see riders sitting on the back. That all of a sudden it's gone from being one big blob here to being a little bit more strung out, and as the pace picks up, the speed goes up, the dynamics of Zwift change how this rides, because as you can see, the blob comes up, its pace is dropping back down again. Our Beacon, though, at 3.5, people have had to readjust the speed, readjust the pace, and as they've done that, now we're starting to see the group come back together again. So a pick-up now. There's no talk of Christmas trees and tinsel and taking days off work to go get your house decorated like some Santa's grotto. All of a sudden, everybody goes quiet. The messages board drops quiet, and now people are going to start to feel it. We're heading into most people's territory where they struggle to talk. Looks like Emma's still able to type as she goes through. So Joanne Lee nicely tucked in here, just moving the way up here. Not even an answer on the message board to our ride leader here. Jane Roberts still continues to push, still holding that gap at the moment. Sammy just trying to keep the pace up, trying to jump onto the back of Roberts to make a good group. Now is Laura just starting to feel the pressure, touch of pain in there. Careful how you spell that. So interesting. Let's have a little look at Laura Lawson. 140 beats a minute, 84 revs per minute as they come in. You just see Big Ben in front as they come around that turn. So Lawson sat in there and keeping hold of it. Now Porter James, who's took nearer to the back, 112 beats, a really low heart rate there, 112, 77 beats per minute. Interesting to see, though, these riders' revs now. We're not seeing quite as much spinning. Let's keep a check on our Beacon, 146 from our Yellow Beacon, 90 revs per minute, just feathering the pace as she comes through onto the front now. Just keeping an eye here, so looking for a few of our riders now. Tracy sitting at 102 beats a minute, 93 revs per minute. Let's take a look down a little bit further. Poppy Thompson, 170 now. Poppy's one of our younger riders, but Poppy now moving up on to the front, holding just under 3 watts per kilo. Now sitting at 3 watts per kilo on the front, 170 beats per minute. Seen Baird tucked in here as well. Skinner just rolling off the front of the group. So that gang holding together despite that call for an increase in pace. Good to see Emma Gilbert tucked in this group. Emma, another of our riders who has ridden the Chaingang and has done so regularly. And good to see Emma in the gang of our riders. When we started off the Women Only Wednesdays back at the start of 2021, we actually did do a one in the 2020 season. Something we've been wanting to introduce for a while, but got to get the logistics right to do it, believe me. Every Chaingang requires more days, more time, more sorting it out, making sure that we're there for people. There's no point in doing it and doing it half-heartedly. We do it properly, make sure that we've got there with the support. We're able to look after our riders to make sure that we can give the support to riders, whether that's the emails, the messages, and so on. I know Emma's messenger and private messaging, the emails going busy. Same with the ones at Full Speed Events here as well. So really busy, and Russ of course always busy on social media as well as on the message boards. Now Jane Roberts currently just holding Sammy Stewart and Spencer at 20 seconds, but just keeping that pace on at the moment. Just jumping into the back of this group. They're all across the road here, and just taking a look up at the front. Nobody, I think, able to hold it at 3.5 or wanting to hold it at 3.5 watts per kilo. We're just seeing Julie on the front here at 2.8. Quickly getting rolled off the front, and you can just see that pace just picking up. Ooh, all of a sudden, a little bit of a kick here. So Izzy Torrey sitting at just under 3 watts per kilo in that yellow and black outfit there. Very easy to spot Izzy in that kit, but quickly gets rolled off the front. You can just see the pace is holding. It's getting hotter on the way through. Remember, we're trying to sit at through the 3.5 marker. That's what's been called by the boss. That is Emma with that lightweight zip set of wheels there. Not that I cut disc on there, interestingly. Gone for a slightly different disc with that zip disc, which slightly heavier, but the aerodynamics are slightly different between the two discs as you come through. Weight not as important on this course. It's all about the aerodynamics. It's all about making sure that when you are riding that you keep the power going through the wheels, that you maximise the pace and the speed as you work your way in and along. And you can just see this group going well. So our Danny cycling coach for riders all rolling in and around the front. There you can see Thompson along with Millie Skinner up there. Mass moves away up to the front. Catherine Adams doing a great ride again, sitting in with this group just tucked into the pack here. Smart riding here. Now we're going to see Adams in when that pace is injected. Now, will we see another lift? Will we just see the steady burn into the legs from the riders as they keep on pushing? Just a little bit further back, Sammy Stewart at the moment with Spencer on her heels here, just pushing on. Roberts currently sitting in for its 21 seconds. Roberts doing a great ride here. That could do with some assistance, but I don't think it's going to be long before we see a few people just starting to come back off this group as they make their way up the street. So at the moment we're coming up and round. We're pretty much about at what is going to be the halfway point on the 3 laps. Remember, added into that you've got the 5.7k of leading as well. The group are riding well here on the first of the 12 DCGs of Christmas, and this keeps the gang riding. Ooh, interesting moments that when the screens do that to you. That's not what you want. Fortunately, the riders running together well, and the team all stuck together as they come around this turn. So it looks like the gang starting to fracture a little as we come up the climb here. Let's drop some numbers back in here, and I think it's Baird who's just being distanced at the back of the group here. So Baird it is, and just take a look at Baird now. You can just see as that pace continues onwards, the go doing the damage and stretching the gang out. The pace has been lifted up at the front. And you can just see the gang now sitting up 3.5 to 4 watts per kilo. Baird being distanced by that injection of pace. Porter James just on the back of the group at the moment. The rider who could be in trouble along with Steph Rourke here. They've got a close gap down. Rourke in that Dayglow kit pushes on now, starts to push to get into the back of the group. She gets contact. Can Baird do the same? Baird is going to be in trouble, I think, but Porter James now makes contact as well. Big push from Porter James to get in there. Baird, though, in trouble at the back. Meanwhile, the group behind looks like Sammy Stewart and Jane Roberts together. Looks like supposed just a little bit further back. Meanwhile, the front of the group, Izzy Torrey trying to stretch it out on the front here, dropping down in towards that descent. Let's jump in with Izzy. She's got the pedal to the metal, as the saying goes. Got those throttles wide open and looking to stretch the gaps out here. It certainly looks to me like she's going to be rolled up, though, by this gang as they come up onto the climb. That is a long way out. That's got a full lap plus the climb up here to do. That is mean stuff by our Yellow Beacon, who is going to be able to stay with them as they go on to the climb. We're just looking to see who's going to put an attack. Are they just going to ride it at pace and lose a few off the back? This is the first kicker as you come out from the underpass, and I think we're starting to see the beginnings of a bit of a move. Just watching up at the front here, looks like Tracy and Sonia. The riders just winding it on the front here. So Sonia Inslee rolls off to the left-hand side of the road. Now Tracy Seeley moves up onto the prime position. Then it's going to be O'Brien coming through Leverton. Fletcher not too far off the pace here. Very quick move up through the group there by Adams on the right-hand side in that Lamprey style kit. Now comes Julie Bratton in that cryogen kit, and you can just see Torrey sitting in with that pack. The riders, though, squeezing it on, and just watching Thompson tracking the back wheel. Joanne Lee gone onto the front now, and it's Lee who is leading this group out a little now. Rourke and looks to me like it's going to be Rourke and Porter James again as we go up onto this climb. We're going to come around the top. If that gap is between Rourke, Porter James and the back of the riders. They come round the turn. They are in trouble, and this is where we're about to hit that right-hand turn. When they come round here, you can just see our yellow beacon pushing up at about 5 watts per kilo here. Tracy Seeley's going to respond, and the yellow beacon goes over the top. The gap will open as the beacon goes off down the road here, and the rest of them are left to chase here. The group is back together again, and looks to me like everybody's made that junction. Tracy Seeley not bridging across and currently getting closed down here by Sonia Inslee. A little bit of a gap, and you can just see the beacon has just eased off the pedals there as the rest of the group are left fighting on the downhill. Always mean when it goes on that downhill, and I think we have got one rider in trouble at the back. We're just going to see who it is. I think it is Steph who's gone. So Steph now distanced by that group. Going to be very difficult to get back on again. This little kicker as you come out from the left-hand turn doesn't make life easy at all. So it looks like Bed a little further back, then Sammy Stewart with Roberts, Spencer ticking the way around that group. Meanwhile, this is the leading group. It still continues onwards. It's still a fair-sized group here. 47 minutes on the clock, and the wind-up now has well and truly begun. Remember that time in over the sprint was at 16, just under 16 seconds. It went down to 14 seconds. Will it go even lower as we come through this time, or will it ease off as they come through? Nobody's going to want to sprint it out, I would imagine, as they come through with one full lap to go. But this is a big group, and now the game is on, because these riders know that they've got to keep that pace high. They've got to stay in with the group. They can't afford to keep distancing the rest of the riders behind at the expense of having nothing left as somebody else puts in an attack. So at the moment, the fastest time of 49.5 from Tracy Seeley, as we just see them coming onto the straight, just riding in with Tracy at the moment. Up on the side of the group there, just keeping in the pack. This pack is winding itself up nicely here. You can see the numbers are coming up now. We're just seeing an arrow going in as well. People using up their power-ups potentially as they go in towards the straight. The gap's opening to Torrey and Bratton. They could be in trouble if they're not kept down. Bratton responds, goes in underneath, and you can just see the gang coming through. Now look at the raft of people, sub 15 seconds. Basically the entire group coming through. And again, with one lap to go, PR after PR after PR. Personal records are coming in underneath the straight there from rider after rider after rider. With one more lap to go, the gang is all together, with the exception of the riders who have been distanced slightly earlier on. So Steph Rourke and Baird just being distanced, and looks like Aislinn Baird just heading in towards the gantry. 37 seconds up the road is Rourke, so that is certainly catchable. And then that will make two riders together who could then work together. It looks like Sammy Stewart and Jane Roberts at the moment still stuck together to come up that climb. Running back up, Lauren O'Brien in this group. Pretty much everybody together. We go up above. Let's see who's starting to do it. Lisa Leverton from the Bolsover District squad goes up in that dark blue of the Rafa. Now squeezing, going up to the front goes Lee. That Atticus kit, very reminiscent of the brother on form team. And then you can see the two grey jerseys of the Downing Cycling Coach riders, Poppy Thompson and Millie Skinner, both riders for the Pro Noctis Heidi Kjartsen Finish Line race team, basically. The Red Chili Bikes powered team making the way into the gang once again, as the pace just eases a touch coming up here. 34 kph as they come around that turn. You can just see at the moment our yellow beacon actually just dropping on towards the back of the group here. If we take a little bit of a look up, they're starting to go across the road again, and that's a surefire indicator that the pace has come off and that there's a little bit of easing as they come in and onto the straight here. Just seeing riders coming in the opposite direction on the other side of the road. So I think Aisling and Rourke, the riders, the Aisling Bed and Steph Rourke, the nearest riders, just seeing coming up the other side there. That is going to be Aisling Bed just going up the side of the road. Rourke already around the turn. Behind them then Sammy Stewart, Jen Roberts and Dan Spencer. all tucked in together at the moment, though. Lisa Leverton, after being on the front, just being squeezed out of the back a little bit, just dropping back, maybe not at the right time, as we now see Torrey goes on the front again. So Torrey just squeezing the pedals. 4.9 watts, 5.1 watts per kilo. Maybe wanting to shed some of these riders. If you're not a sprinter, you've got to wear the riders down, the sprinters down. You can't let them roll the way into the finish. You want to make them work on the front. The only way to do that is to either keep their pace high or to do a repeated number of breakaways. And are we going to see some aggressive riding from our riders as they go in? They've got less than one lap left to go. At the moment, this group are sitting well together, speeding the way down the straight alongside the barracks past the parade ground, and got St James's Park on the left-hand side. As they drop down, they're going to be heading into Parliament Square, taking that right-hand turn. Nobody being distanced, everybody able to ride in the slipstream. Everybody being able to hold in this group who have been in for a while. Rourke and Bed distance repeatedly on the climbs, and really interesting that Porter James has made a way back into this group despite being distanced at one stage, and managed to get back in on that climb, now holding in as we see a little bit of a squeeze on the front, and it is Tracy Don't Say I've Got a New FDP Seeley making a way up to the front again. So just watching Torrey took herself back onto the back of that group. The group comes back together again. They're going to get up in the sky above these riders. They come around the turn, and certainly all gone very quiet on the message boards. Last messages, in fact, but all three coming from the yellow beacon. So around the turn they go, up on to the straight, heading down alongside Parliament at the moment. And you can just see this group just tracking the way down nicely at the moment, and Bratton on the front in that triage in the white and blue kit. Just watching Tiff Fletcher. Tiff, of course, our winner in the giveaway on the WOW DCG, the 12 DCGs of Xmas, and the giveaway, of course, the prize is provided by the team at 1080 in association with Spatswear tonight, and a big thank you to the gang providing the prizes. So the gang riding well at the moment, looking smooth as these riders come in and through. A great ride, just having a messages come in. Michael Clark sending messages in to our riders saying go, go, go to all of our riders. Fantastic stuff on the Women's Wednesday. Lots of our riders are in and watching when they're not riding, and a great way to keep up with all of the action on the Chain Gang. Don't forget, of course, subscribe to the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. You get notified when all of the rides go live. At the moment, the numbers here don't tell a lie. The speed currently sitting at 40 kph. The group are together at the moment. We're into the last lap on the way in towards the climb. This is our leading group, and they've gone clear behind Steph Rourke, currently at 118 on her own. Just riding nice and strongly, just not quite able to sit in the wheels as we came over the climb, and that meant a little bit of a distance. Ailsley Baird the same, that little bit of a climb, that kicker out from the underpass doing the damage. Behind then we've got Sammy Stewart and Jane Roberts, two riders together, just coming round past the side of Buckingham Palace. Roberts in there, Sammy Stewart doing the red beacon job of sweeping at the back. A little bit further back, Diane Spencer just coming in towards the gantry here. She continues to kick on, and currently a couple of minutes behind our red beacon there. This group though, the front group all together, and not sure who's going to go away. It's going to be interesting. They're not seeing any attacks, but we are about to take that right hand turn. If we zoom out on the map, top right hand side of your screen, you can just see we're about to take that fork away from the river, and as we go away from the river, this is where the gaps start to build. This is where the pressure starts to come on the riders, and when we start to see the gaps open, because it basically starts to ramp up. We see 1 and 2%, those drags, the false flats, the slight dips, that change in rhythm, particularly as you go around. We've got a little square coming up in the distance. You can just see it took to the top right hand side of the map screen at the moment. That little indent is where you tend to find it's, you get that little break in rhythm, that little break in pace, and obviously the riders at the front hitting it first. It does change how that ride feels. You've got to change how you push on those pedals to stay with the group or to go clear. Great attacking point. Will we see anybody go from there? Go for a long one. It's been done on the DCG. Jimmy Allen putting in a kick from there and going clear. We've seen riders take it into the finish, and we've had some strong riders who've got the strength of the power. We've seen plenty of speculative attacks there. It's a little bit of a different point from the underpass. The gradient kicks up to 2% as you come in towards this right-hand bend. Eases off around the right-hand bend, then we go into the square as we come past Spoken Saddle. And the riders now lining themselves up to go around the square. Now we see a dig come in. We've just seen Izzy Torrey break it onto the back of Emma at the moment. The pressure is on as Torrey goes over the top. Now as we come into the square, this is where the rhythm breaks. So these two are going to get clear here. This is really fast. There are indeed some outstanding sprinters in it, and the pressure is on. Look at the gaps opening now. The pressure being put on by our beacon, trying to split it away, the group from the sprinters. The sprinters behind have been sat in. Now who's going to respond to this? Who's going to take the pressure up? All of a sudden we're seeing a break in the group. Torrey's attack has done the damage, and now we have 7 riders clear up at the front. They've got one of those sprinters in there in the shape of Sonia Inslee. She's a rider you can't afford to take into the line, but they've done that. They've also got Millie Skinner in here, proven a rider for the Pro Noctis squad. Lauren O'Brien is in here as well. Fletcher's made the junction here, and definitely cool as the cucumber. Didn't need that cooler base layer. Absolutely comes flying across, bridges the gap behind. Looks like Adams about to make that junction as well. She comes onto the back. Lee is about a second down. Bratton and Heffron distance, and Heffron's got Leverton, Thompson, Porter James in there, and Gilbert. This is a strong group. They need to work together. If they leave it to one rider to do the chasing, they are going to be distanced. They've got strong riders in front in the shape of Bratton and Lee. They are literally equidistant from the group in front to the group behind. 3 seconds in front, 3 seconds behind. They're sat in that no man's land as we see Lee continuing to push to try and bring that group back in front, but I think it's going to open up. One rider will not bring back 7. It's just not going to happen unless they are an incredibly strong rider who's been caught out napping asleep. The group behind here, though, it is a big group here. They could do enough work together. There's 5 of them. The 2 riders in front make 7. That would match the number of riders in front, but they are 5 riders, and at the moment they've got to catch this group. In fact, it's been swallowed. It's more than 7 riders now. It's near 9, if not 10 riders in that group, and we've seen Torrey put in one dig. Is she laying off for another big attack here? Is Izzy Torrey looking to take this out? Is that a wry smile on the face of the avatar, knowing that there's going to be a dig coming in? Meanwhile, up on the front, O'Brien starts to wind it up. Got a little bit of a gap here. That's more than 6 metres, I think, between rider O'Brien. It is now. The riders behind are going to have to work to close that down. O'Brien comes up over the top with a gap, and it's Lawson now doing the work to close the gap down. She's equally opened up on the bunch, and I don't think our Yellow Beacon is going to pull back a teammate, surely, as they come through. In theory, the Yellow Beacon has no teammates on this ride, but we'll see. I'm not sure you're going to break the bonds of an Aeonian squad as easily as all that, to be brutally honest. They're a very, very strong, very, very team-minded squad, and they tend to work together pretty much at every race really, really well. Now, Torrey on the descent. Skinner is in here. We're just going to ride in with Skinner. She's closing that gap down here, so Skinner's gone on to the front. Remember, disc wheel on there, getting the advantage on that downhill. Yellow Beacons at the back. They're going to absolutely blast past the two riders in front, past Lawson, past O'Brien here. Now it's Skinner on the front. 5.7 we've just seen coming out. She's got Torrey on her heels, though, and Izzy Torrey's not letting this go. Lawson and Adams, look at Adams go here, quickly up onto the heels there. They are absolutely nailing this as they come into the straight, and it's O'Brien now on the back of the group. Who's going to put the kick in? Who's going to have the attack? Who wants to go for this really, really quickly and put it in? This is step number 1 of a 2-step hill. We're just riding in with Tracy Seeley here, who is winding it up on the front, and she's really putting them under the cosh. But you wouldn't want to bet against Seeley with those increases as she goes up in that FTP. She's got quicker and quicker, continuing this pace up onto the hill. We know she can put out a sustained effort, but the gap has come down. Skinner right onto the heels here of Seeley. Inslee still in this group, and Inslee, the sprinter, doing nothing at the back here. We know Sonia can sprint. She sprints in every single group she rides. So Inslee goes up on the front, reminds them she's sitting in there with them. They've not broken this apart. There are 2 more trigger points where riders can go. The top of this crest, if you can get a gap here, you can open it up. And then on the left-hand turn at the bottom of the hill, as you come around the left turn, the riders will find that there is a kicker out from the left-hand turn. So Inslee tucked in on the front of that group, as you see our leader starting to wind it up on the front here, gone on the downhill here, has opened up a gap, and the Yellow Beacon has decided not to leave it to the sprinters, not wanting to let the sprinters have their day here. We've seen Russ do this same attack, this same move. I know Emma, our Yellow Beacon in the women's ride, watches the rise when Russ and Jimmy Allen are in action. The leaders all learning from each other. Now into this turn, now comes that slight increase in the gradient, and this is where you've got to have the kick. She's forced the gang to work to catch her onto the climb here, and that means it may well have taken a little bit of the sting out of the riders' legs, but it's going to be Lawson who goes on the front, and it's done the damage. It's taken Torrey out of the back, so Torrey's now gone. No way back for Izzy Torrey. The rider who is quickly on the attack. Inslee having to use a power up here to get back onto the group. So Sonia Inslee's used that power up. She's not going to have that in her arsenal as they hit the turn to come into the finish. This is going to do damage to the speed of Inslee coming through. You'd want her to have saved that, but she's not been able to do so. She's had to use that. So that move there by Emma, just splitting the group, using up some of the power-ups as these riders come through, riding up above them. O'Brien on the front, Fletcher on the right-hand side, Lawson in the middle, Seeley on the left at the front in that GCN kit. Inslee in the all-black, moving up to the centre. Tiff Fletcher's sitting off here. Is it going to be Fletcher's day? Is it going to be a double winning day for Fletcher as they come in to the finish? We've got Poppy Thompson tucked in, and anybody's guess who is going to take this out at this stage. I wouldn't want to put money on who's going to take this at the finish. Skinner has the kick. She's got the speed. Will she take it out? Will she be able to break this group coming into the finish? This is our leading group. Who's your money on? Not sure who I'm going to have to go for here. Everybody's looking at each other. I think our beacons are winding it up here, but Fletcher's gone on to the front. She's got 12 watts per kilo coming out from Fletcher. She's gone early. Has she gone too early? Can she bury it? Look at Skinner come. Skinner's coming on the right-hand side. Skinner is pushing, but Inslee's got something left. Inslee sits second wheel. It is going to be a great ride there by the Pro Noctis rider. Skinner comes through, taking the win. What a ride, what a sprint coming through, led out by Fletcher. Skinner came up on the side, then Inslee closing down, trying to get that gap back down again. Lawson, I think it was, coming across right up with that front group. Absolutely enormous sprint coming through there from the riders. Then Izzy Torrey comes through just a little bit behind. Look at the time on that sprint, the fastest actual sprint time for the 200 metres there. It is Inslee who has the fastest sprint, but she couldn't get the timing right there. And it was a fantastically quick time through from Skinner. Now, next group coming through, it is Lee who takes it from Bratton. Just distanced on that last little section of the climb. Then it's Porter James who sprints in. She comes through clear of Gilbert. Then it's going to be Heffron, Leverton. And I think Thompson just going to be chasing them in. So great rise by Maz, by Lisa, by Emma, by Becky there. This group working well. Lee, so Joanne Lee and Julie Bratton coming through. Inslee holding that green jersey. I'm not surprised. 11.77, but the timing not good enough to take the win that time round. Poppy Thompson now into that last 200 metres. So it is going to be Poppy, the next of our riders coming into the straight. We cannot sit on our usual cams because get blocked by the Concord barriers at the side of the road. Poppy Thompson from the finish line. Ray Steve from that Pro Noctis. Heidi Kjærtsen, Red Chili Squad. Great ride there. What a finish. So tight. Skinner taking it as she came into the line. Really tight to the line sprint. And Laura Lawson was coming quick. That's got to bode well as she comes into the World Masters Championship. Some great riding on the way through. And I don't think anybody's got any of the breath left to talk as we see Sonia Inslee just putting up well, she's got the green jersey. Fastest time through that sprint there. Sub 12 seconds kick at the end of that ride. Steph Rourke now on her way in towards the finish. Going to take this right-hand turn. So into the side here of Trafalgar Square. As she takes the right, she'll go under Admiralty Arch and line up for the finish. I think Steph with some clear air between her and the rider behind. That's going to be Aislinn Baird, just making her way down towards Trafalgar Square. If we drop back to Baird, just can see the entrance to T Square coming up. You can cut across the corner in front of the gallery, but Rourke now lining herself up for that gantry. An amazing job done today by our riders. Great finish out on the circuit. So great sprint coming in. Rourke and unleashing that sprint. 8 watts per kilo coming out after having to work solo all that time. Great ride by Rourke. Goes through the line. New personal best of 13 seconds. That would have put her up with that leading group as she came in and through. Remember, that was done solo with no assistance on the way through. Great ride by Steph. Well done. Next up will be Aislinn Baird kicking for the line now. So going to be another run in now. And going to be Baird who comes in. Great ride in to the finish. Great build-up. Tracy, always good to watch the comments coming in. The advantage of having that warm down is you can always get the comments in without having to leave the world as well. Get those comments in before you go through that blue band and the warm down built into all of the Donny Chaingang rides. So our riders are coming in, and now we're going to jump up above the rider coming into the straight. It's Aislinn Baird who comes in and through the gantry. Great ride down there. So awesome stuff. Brilliant to see Aisling sitting in that group until almost the very end there, pushing hard to the finish. And a great ride coming through. So Aisling just on the warm down. I think Emma's gone so hard she can't even talk as we see Sammy Stewart and Jane Roberts on the way down. Let's see if we can get hold of our yellow beacon. You never know. Let's see if she's able to talk and type at the same time. Emma, are you there?
I'm here, Matt. Yes, indeed.
Have you got your breath back?
Yeah, just about. That was good, wasn't it?
That was really good. That was an early go. It was the setup on the running. A couple of riders out at the back. Sammy doing some good shepherding there with Diane Spencer, and now with Jane Roberts on the way in. And looks good at the moment. But question's got to be, as when that group started to get wound up, we were just seeing a yo-yo. Why the early kick? Go on.
Well, I have to say, I think everyone just looked a bit too comfortable, like they'd got into the Christmas spirit before, well early in December. So I looked at it and I thought, should I up it to 4 watts per kilo? And I thought, no, I don't think they'll do it. So I thought, let's just go instead.
Well, I noticed you put it to 3.5, and it wasn't really happening, was it? There was no... People were just sitting and they were just trying to stay comfy, and that's not the Donny Chaingang. It ain't easy. It's the Chaingang.
Yeah, and I just thought, I didn't think it was going to wind up anymore, so I thought, let's just go early. We had about 18k to go, something like that. So it was a little bit longer than I'd originally planned, but actually, I think it turned into a waiting game because there were so many sprinters in that group.
There were, and we saw a couple of digs in there and noticed the message board saying, well, let's quote it back to you here, just a warning, as this group has outstanding sprinters in it. And that says a lot, doesn't it? That once you put that message out, people were digging. And you've got to give Izzy Torrey credit there, because she really put in a big dig on a couple of occasions, trying to break that group up with you.
I was hoping someone was going to. I was sitting there watching Millie Skinner and Sonia Inslee and Laura, knowing what a kick all of those girls have got. And thinking, if someone doesn't go, I'm going to have to, and I need somebody else to do it.
Well, you got some assistance, and there were repeated digs on the way in, which was great to see. And it really did take it. I mean, we burnt up Sonia Inslee's power up on the way through. She had a drafting power up, and distancing her with that kick down the hill and up meant she couldn't use that. And she got the fastest time, but the gap was so close to Millie. Millie just getting the timing right on that sprint. So it's not just about having that fastest time, is it? It's about making sure that you get the sprint right and get the timing right. It's so critical, isn't it?
It is. Sometimes first across the line is not fastest through the sprint. And I think there's always an interesting differential. But good on it, Sonia, actually, to pull it back onto that group, because at one point, I'm with you, I thought we'd lost her. But she pulled that. I thought we'd gapped her, but we hadn't. She dug in and she dug back on, and all credit to Sonia there.
Yeah, she put in a storming ride there, kicking away in and through, and put in a great performance to kick that into the finish. I mean, you could just see she was coming and going, but Millie with that power. We know she's a proven race winner for the Pro Noctis team, but people at different stages of training, on different rates of recovery. And that makes such a huge difference, doesn't it? I mean, we've got riders preparing for the World Championships.
Yeah, so there was a number of riders in there tonight, using it as their last effort before the World Championships this weekend, and others in there who, for them, it's the first week back to proper training.
Oh, ouch! What a baptism of fire coming back to your training like that. That's not my idea of fun, I've got to say.
Yeah, I know. So, but a good effort and good fun, I think. Hopefully, well, good fun had by all.
Certainly seems to be by the efforts, and lots of messages coming in as well from the gang watching out there. We've had 2 competitions as well, so we've got, of course, we've given away our £50 voucher to Malcolm from the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the Members Club, and that basically means those people who keep the show on the road by donating into the Chaingang. So well done to Malcolm. And of course, Tiff Fletcher, who had a stormy ride and had a great sprint at the finish. I thought she was going to actually make it 2 wins out of 2 in one evening because she was absolutely flying there. And, of course, getting the win there, the fastest fingers on the screen, which is what counts. The actual game is what we always go off. If in doubt, companion up can have its moments, let's say. So we always use the game as the arbiter of all these things. But Tiff, fast with the fingers and fast with the legs tonight.
I did wonder why no one was very friendly at the beginning. They're all sat there waiting, probably with it all typed out and ready to go.
I can't imagine what you mean. It's cut and paste is a wonderful thing.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? It was absolutely brilliant. When I put that on the screen, I can't believe how quick everybody piled in. So well done to Tiff.
Yeah, now we're seeing our Beacon having done the run in. Talking of phenomenal sprinters, Sammy Stewart on a solo run in. Will she beat that time? Remember, Skinner's time is 11.84. In fact, we know a little bit faster than that was the gang coming in. And just see Sammy Stewart come with a 12.04. So a quick time, but not as quick as the gang when they came through. But a great job done. Massive thank you to Sammy. For jumping in as our red beacon at lastminute.com. The Aeonian team doing the business for us again. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate that. And a great ride by Jane Roberts. Jane coming through to finish with our beacon with no less than Sammy Stewart. I mean, that's in itself an achievement. So good to see Jane back and riding again.
Yeah, nice to have Jane back again for the second time. So hopefully we'll see her again next time.
Indeed, 2 weeks' time to the next of our Women's Only Wednesdays. Emma, thank you very much for leading, and we'll no doubt see you on the Chaingang post-Worlds, where we'll be doing a little bit of a catch-up.
Indeed. Thanks ever so much, Matt.
So great to catch up with Emma, and as we see Jane rolling away in and through towards that warm-down point, Sammy Stewart doing the same here on the Mall. Just leaves me to say, make sure that you subscribe to the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. A quick reminder, there's no broadcast tomorrow over at Ipswich for the World Championships. Russ, of course, leading the ride tomorrow, as usual, on the DCG. Make sure that you sign up nice and early if you are registering just as a single rider. If you want to donate to help the Chain Gang, then don't forget the easiest way to do so is to join the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. That £20 for the month's donation means that we then say thank you by giving you loads of discount codes off things like OTE, Grand Tour Coffee, Gritty Kit, as well as Halo Wheels, 1080 with an extra discount in there, as well as looking after, of course, all of the 12 DCGs of Christmas, the exclusive members discounts giveaways, things like the £50 voucher that came out tonight, courtesy of 1080, and of course we also have lots more on the run through, and more importantly, you're helping us keep the Chain Gang going for everybody. It's those people who donate who quite literally keep the show on the road. So a big, big thank you to them. From me, Matt Payne, have a great Chain Gang tomorrow with a very few I will have missed. I probably, to be honest, will be watching at some point with the wonders of the tech that lets us get in on the inside. But from me, have a great time. Enjoy your racing if you're out racing. Have a great Chain Gang. I'm sure Russ will beast you all the way around the course as per normal, and look forward to being back on Tuesday. A double giveaway day because we have all of Thursday's giveaways and Tuesday's giveaways as well. Make sure you go onto the Facebook page, which is the Donny Chaingang Facebook page, and DonnyChaingang.com for the website. From me, Matt Payne, from Full Speed Events, from Emma R. Beacon, from Russell, from everybody on the Chain Gang. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's Women's Only Wednesday as much as I have. We'll catch up with you next time on the Donny Chaingang.